I know budgeting doesn't sound very sexy for the most of you, but if you want to take responsibility for your personal finances, this is one of the first important steps to do. Fortunately, you don't have to do it for the rest of your life, unless you want to, of course. Especially at the beginning, it's enough to track 2 to 3 months. So for example, you can start with the last 3 months and then you can repeat it every time you feel the need to update it. A good reason to update is everything that's new. For example, you moved into a new flat, or you started a new job, or you got a raise at your old job. In this video, we'll first talk about what a budget actually is and 3 different ways to do it. And then I'll explain step by step how to actually budget. And as an example, I will use an Excel sheet that I use since over 5 years, but now have redesigned it for you. If you want to budget with me simultaneously, you can stop the video right now and download the Excel sheet. The link is in the video description. You can download it without leaving an email address, and I created 3 versions depending on the currency you live in. It's in dollars, in euros, or in pounds. By the way, this budget sheet is optimized for a salary. So if you are employed and you have a salary, or you are self-employed and own a business but still pay yourself a monthly salary, then this will work for you. If you're looking to budget for your self-employed work or your business, this will not be ideal. All right, let's dive into it. So to budget means to simply document your income and your expenses. And there are mainly 3 different versions to do it. The first one, and probably also the easiest one, is per app. Depending on where you live, there will be hundreds of different versions of budgeting apps. You can just scroll through your app store and choose one. Most of the time you enter your data from all your different bank accounts, and then it automatically categorizes all the different positions. I used such an app once. I stopped using it. I can't particularly tell you why. I think one of the reasons is that I couldn't be bothered to enter all of my accounts because I was just feeling uncomfortable with it. I don't know. And also the automated categorizing didn't always work as I wish it would. And then I had to do it manually, and then I thought, okay, might as well do it in an Excel sheet. That brings us to version number 2. Use an Excel sheet or any other calculating program of your choice. And this obviously takes a lot more time because you have to put the numbers in manually. But I think going through the numbers and actively tipping them into your Excel sheet adds some kind of mindfulness to the process, and that way really connects you to it. I'm still doing it this way today after I think 7 years now. And the third option would be to just do it on paper. I don't recommend this one because you have to do the calculations all by yourself, and that might get a little frustrating, and also it's even more time intensive. So the Excel sheet, for me at least, is a good way in between the two. Unless you're already looking forward to start budgeting, I recommend to make it as cozy as possible. So definitely choose a day off. For me it's Sunday. Usually I put some music on, I made me some tea, and choose a nice and quiet spot in your home. I will show you my setup real quick so that you can see how I'm preparing for it. All right, let me show you how that looks. So I have my laptop here, and there I've opened the Excel sheet. Next to it I have my iPad. There I will open my bank account or accounts so that I can just scroll through it. And then here I have my tea. I will start a screen recording. All right, first I'll explain the whole thing for you, and then we will insert some fake numbers so that this doesn't take forever. So you see the first page is an overview. And there you can practically see the whole year. So up here are the months. Then you have an overview over overall income and overall expenditures, and also the saldo. That means the income minus the expenditures. And I programmed it so that the calculations are done automatically. And then here in green is all your income. I put here the salary, and if you have more than one income stream, you can, change it to your liking. For example, salary 2, maybe dividends, maybe rent. And then each month you can put them here where you see the box, the black box. Let's say you earn 4,000 a month, you can put it in here. Then it automatically puts it in your currency. If your salary number 1 is the same every time, this is the beautiful thing with Excel, you can just put it like this. Voila. Let's say you have a side hustle, and in January you made 250, and in February maybe 300, and in March you made 80. And then you see here overall income. It automatically calculates your whole income of the month, and then it also puts it up here. Then the next section is saved. If you saved several times a month, you'd have to put in here, for example, over sum. So you can just do equal, and then for example you saved 1,000, and then again at the end of the month you saved 400. You can just put it in like this and then enter, and then here you have the 1,400. Let's say in February you just saved once your 1,000, and in March also the 1,000. Now we come to the costs. I like to differentiate between fixed costs and variable costs. Now the fixed costs are the costs that are the same every month, and those you can also insert here into this like kind of black box. For example, your rent will probably be the same every month. Let's say for example it's 850, and then you can again put it like this, maybe even for the whole year if you don't plan to move. Electricity will probably be the same. Let's say it's like, I don't know, 50. Then your Wi-Fi, I don't know, what's Wi-Fi these days? 25. Those are the fixed costs. So you probably already know, okay, my rent is that and that much, my electricity is that and that much, the Wi-Fi that and that much, and it's the same every month. So you don't have to look it up in your balance, in your bank account balance. Then you probably also have a cell phone. Let's say that's 35 every month. You might check this one with your actually bank account in case you, for example, phoned someone abroad. Then this might be a little more than it usually is. You can do it like this. Then you probably pay insurance, I don't know, 150. You can also put it over the whole year. And then, yeah, you get the idea. Let's skip to the abonnement. So when you do your first month, you will probably discover some payments that you are still doing and not using. So maybe abonnement is like a, I don't know. This could be, for example, Netflix subscription and then another subscription X. First you can put them here and then you maybe realize, oh, I didn't even know I had this. And if you don't need it anymore, you can, for example, just quit it. Then maybe if you want to quit your Netflix subscription, how much is it these days? Like 17, and maybe you did it in January and February and now you decided that you don't need it anymore, then you can leave the rest just blank. And then at the end of that box we have the overall fixed costs. In January were 1,127 euros. And this one actually gives you a good overview of your absolute minimum you need every month, because this doesn't even include food. What I also did is I put the percentages here from the overall income. So for example, for your housing, you can see that 20.97% of your overall income goes into housing. And that's actually an okay number. In general, around 30% for housing and fixed costs is a good rule of thumb. If you're living in a very expensive city, this might not always be possible. This percentage of overall income I put in pretty much every category, but where it's definitely interesting is here under saved, because here you can see your overall percentage of how much you saved, and this at the moment is 6.99%. Let's say we put the 1,000 for every month. Okay, then it goes up to 25.5%, which is a good rate. If you don't want to do the whole year, only a couple of months, you can just put all of those out. Let's just leave it at the first 3 months and the rest we can just delete. So obviously this sheet is optimized for the whole year, but even if you only want to do a couple of months, you just leave the rest blank and then you can still use the overall percentages because they're accurate for where you've put the numbers in. So right now in our case, a saving rate of 26.92%, which is quite good. Housing of 20.19%, which is also pretty good. And then you can continue filling those out, for example, for February and March or the other months. And the second part of our costs is the variable costs, and they will differ every month. And that is why I created a tab for each month. You can find them down here. So for example, if it's January, you can just go here and then you'll find different categories up here. You'll find food. By food here, I mean everything you buy in the grocery store every now and then. Clothing, obviously. Eating out is when you go to a restaurant or you order something in. And I differentiate between food and eating out on purpose, because eating out most of the time is more expensive than cooking yourself at home. And like that, you can get a good overview of how much you're actually spending eating out and also how much you're spending on groceries, and if there is maybe some space to optimize. Then next I put going out. Going out, for example, is maybe going to a bar and having some drinks, although you could also put this on eating out, but it's also like, I don't know, going to the opera, going to a club, to the theater, you name it, whatever you're doing with your free time. Next is education. Here you can put everything, for example, that you spend on books or that you spend on courses. Then I put bureau, which is actually everything that involves some kind of writing. For example, what I put in there is my annual calendar. Then I also recently started bullet journaling, so that's also something I would put in here. And I bought myself some nice pens for it to make it pretty. So those are costs that I put into bureau. And that most of the time, depending on your job, is also stuff that is tax deductible. So while categorizing it in here, you might also at the same time put it in your tax box if you have one. Then electronics, which for example is the iPad or the stuff you buy for the iPad or your computer. This also might go into your tax box. Then I put furniture, so everything you need in your house. For the body is all the stuff, you know, you just buy for your body, like shampoo and conditioner and body lotions. I think one of the reasons why I put this in a different category is that, for example, in Germany there are these like drugstores where you can buy all those stuff at once. If in your country you buy your stuff for the body at the grocery store, you might as well put it in one category, because then you don't have to divide the cost from one receipt. And then I have like medical, if you spend anything on doctor's appointments or medication. Then holiday, here you can put everything holiday related, for example flights or tickets, hotels. Then I put car if you have one. If you don't have one, you can also put in like transportation, and then you can put in the receipts for a taxi or a bus or train or anything in here. And then I also added like cost 1, 2, 3, 4, if there's anything you would like to add to this. Of course, if you don't like my categories or they're not very convenient for you, you can always change them up. And then here on the side you'll find the dates, and then you can, like from your bank account, put the different amounts in here. For example, let's say you'd spend 45.83 here, then again 5 days later 30. Maybe you had a shopping day here, you spent 300 on shopping. Then maybe you went to a bookstore here, treated yourself to a new iPad. And then maybe like me, once a month you're treating yourself to some nice things for your skin. Right, you get the idea. What you get then up here is your overall cost of every category, and those that are up here in red will also automatically show up here in January on your overview page. And then you can see here the overall costs of the variable costs. And for example, this month it was 1,551 euros and 64 cents. Can I optimize? Do I need to optimize? Is that okay? And there you could say, okay, that's actually quite a lot. Let's look where this money went. But then you find here, okay, electronics, I bought the iPad. This is a one-time thing. Probably in the next month it won't be as much. So yeah, that's basically how budgeting works. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments down below. And of course, any other suggestions are also welcome. I hope this was helpful for you. If you're looking to spend less in the different categories, I recommend this video next. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.